Kathy had brought a sandwich for Jacob, like yesterday, and as he ate it, she told him the importance of punctuality. Kathy's lecture came to an end by the time he was done eating. She stretched her body and picked up the basketball from the ground.
We practiced dribbling quite a bit yesterday. Today, we are focusing on passing.
Yes. Jacob wiped his mouth and nodded.
The key to passing is the judgment of direction and the use of your fingers. A standard pass is made by your fingers, not your palm. Your wrist has to be quick and flexible during this process.
Kathy demonstrated with the ball in her hand as she spoke. She looked even more energetic and beautiful than yesterday in her white tennis gear. As she demonstrated passing the ball, her body swayed back and forth. Her hair was tied up and looked as refreshing as the wind. Kathy stopped her demonstration when she noticed Jacob staring at her. She waved the ball in front of him and asked,
Did you see how I passed the ball?
Oh, yeah. Jacob came out of his trance and said, I need to use my fingers. I think I got most of it.
Okay, give it a try then.
Kathy put the ball into Jacob's hand and backed up a few steps while saying,
Pass it to me.
Jacob threw the ball to her, and she caught it successfully. She passed it back to him after a couple of dribbles.
There are techniques for catching as well.
Kathy started explaining as she practiced passing the ball with Jacob. Jacob could tell that she was 100% focused on the ball. He kicked himself for getting distracted and started to pay attention as well. Kathy looked exactly like a little coach, instructing Jacob carefully. She demonstrated each move a few times for Jacob and practiced them with him for about 10 minutes. After a while, seeing how sweaty and tired Kathy looked, Jacob caught the basketball and said, Kathy, let's take a break.
It's okay, let's continue,
she said as she waved at him and shook the sweat off of her head. Jacob hesitated and passed to her. Kathy caught it with ease and passed it back to him. Kathy is pretty competitive, Jacob thought, as he saw how hard Kathy was pushing herself. They passed the ball so many times that Jacob got a bit tired with the bracelets on his wrists, and Kathy was also a little out of breath. However, she didn't ask for a break during their entire training session, and she even turned Jacob down when he offered that they rest. After about 2 hours, they finally took a 2-minute break. After some time, Kathy stood up and said,
All right, we are going to put the dribbling from yesterday and the passing from today together. Let's get a game in. Your ball and I'll defend. Your passing target will be the backboard this time.
Jacob admired how thorough she was. He didn't want to keep resting when Kathy was already ready for the next technique. Jacob stood up reluctantly and dribbled the ball between his palms, as she had taught him yesterday. Kathy opened up her arms in a defensive stance with her eyes glued to Jacob. Jacob didn't want to knock her over, but she had stolen the ball when his mind slipped away.
The ball is in my hand. You are defending now,
Kathy said cheerfully. Jacob immediately ran to the inside and stretched out his arms. Kathy raised the ball up with both hands as if she was passing it, and Jacob immediately waved his arms up to block her. However, she was only faking it. She quickly turned around, moved behind Jacob, and threw the ball into the air, making it fall right into the basket. Jacob turned around only to see it go down into the basket. He said, That was awesome! Kathy clapped her hands cheerfully and threw the ball back to Jacob as she said, One more time! Jacob got ready again, and Kathy wasn't able to steal the ball from him this time. He also raised his arms to make a passing move. Kathy wasn't as tall as Jacob, so she quickly lifted her arms too. Jacob, on the other hand, suddenly bent over, turned around, dribbled, and shot the ball. Jacob imitated her moves, and the ball landed on the backboard. Although he didn't score, it was still a successful pass. Kathy turned around and patted Jacob's back.
Hey, that was pretty good, she said.
Jacob laughed as he looked at Kathy, who was looking so happy for him.
But don't let it get to your head. Let's try again.
She ran over to pick up the ball and threw it at him. Jacob quickly reached out to catch the ball right before it hit his head. Jacob moved around as he dribbled, but Kathy suddenly cut him off again. He tried to take the ball back without touching her hand, and he reached forward when he knew where the ball was going. However, Kathy suddenly changed her path, and Jacob's hand didn't get to touch the ball. He quickly adjusted his body, trying to avoid the situation. Jacob felt embarrassed and suggested, "Should we call it a day?" Kathy walked over to pick up the ball with her head down. She didn't say anything. When Jacob was ready to leave, thinking that today's practice had finished, Kathy threw the basketball at him again and said, "Let's continue." "What?" Jacob was surprised. Kathy jogged over to the basket and said, "Your ball. I will defend." Sam ran into the stadium with Kyle. They passed Jacob and Kathy playing together, and Sam felt a hint of jealousy in his heart as Jacob got to train with a beautiful and kind girl while he was stuck with the strict Kyle. The training came to an end after almost 3 hours. Kathy and Jacob went to the cafeteria for breakfast, just like the day before. Jacob was still paying, but Kathy was standing in line with him. Jacob thought about how hard she worked during their practice, so he bought her a hearty breakfast. He was actually quite touched by how patient she was while teaching him. "Kathy, there's something that I wanted to tell you, if you don't mind," Jacob said, as he sat opposite to her. Kathy looked at him with her bright eyes and replied, "Go ahead." "Actually, I heard some girls talking, and they were saying that you are only friends with me because of my family background," Jacob said. Kathy blinked in surprise. She probably never thought he would mention something like this. Then she smiled with her head down and replied, "Some of the girls just like to gossip, but thank you for reminding me." "I'm not sure what is going on between the girls, but since they are passing this gossip on, I thought you should know," Jacob said as he bit into his pancake. It was undeniable that Jacob had been pretty fond of Kathy, and he was a bit upset when the girls gossiped about her. However, he decided to give her a heads up instead of going there and arguing with them. "Let them talk all they want. I know you come from an ordinary family, and I don't like gossiping about other girls. However, you have to be careful if you are looking for a girlfriend." Kathy took a sip of her milk tea and smiled. Jacob smiled back at her comment and then asked, "Why don't you have a boyfriend?" "Me?" She wiped her mouth with a napkin and said, "Well, you see, I have a plan. Right now I can't have a boyfriend and mess with that plan. At least, not until I am in junior year." Going by her serious look, Jacob knew that she wasn't joking. She had always struck him as a stubborn yet level-minded person. Jacob felt a little disappointed by her answer, but wasn't sure why. They each went back to their dorms to change after breakfast. The two of them smiled at each other when they met at their 10 o'clock class. Sam didn't have any classes that morning, so his training lasted until noon. Under the intensive training that Kyle had been giving him, Sam was too exhausted to even talk. Dream. Jacob looked over at Kathy, who was busy taking notes. He pinched the tip of his pen and thought, "I should train hard and perform well, even if it's only for Sam and Kathy's sake."
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.